Alright guys, so what up? So I know a lot of people have commented on all my videos and stuff. They've sent me messages. They're like, so where's your Man of Steel review? And I'm pretty sure a lot of people were wondering, hey, he must not be reviewing it, so he's either afraid to review it or he didn't like it and he's so disappointed he doesn't want to review it. Well, on the contrary, that is beyond not true. Now, here's the thing. This is going to be a long review, and this is going to have to be split up into two parts because I got a lot to talk about here. After I saw it at the midnight release, I said to myself, I kind of wanted to review, but I said, I'm going to see this again before I review it. And that's exactly what I did. I went to see it again Saturday. And let me tell you something. I thought the movie was good, but I actually liked it better when I saw it the second time. And let me tell you, I've actually seen it 3 times because I saw it again for a Sunday with another friend. So I said, you know what? On Monday, I'm going to give my review and talk about it. And here we are. Monday, and so let's talk about this. Man of Steel and all the criticism that some people have towards this and what I think. First, let me go into detail. What big things I liked about this film? I liked the beginning. I like how we open up in Krypton. I thought Russell Crowe did a great job at when we were in Krypton. I love how we open up Krypton at war. We get more, and we got more General Zod that part. So I love the parts in the beginning with General Zod because it actually made his character I got more to him later on when he returns in the film, as opposed to in the old Superman films. We just saw him getting locked up, so we don't really know what his crimes. We comic book fans, you know what, but other people don't. And I like that. You have that it's Krypton in rebellion, that he's rebelling against Krypton, and I loved all that stuff in the beginning with Jor-El and Kal as a baby being born. I just really love, and of course the visuals of Krypton was great because that's Snyder. He's a very visual director, and the visuals didn't disappoint in those scenes. I like how Clark's story was told in flashbacks. I like that because look at it this way, and I know a lot of people say this was rushed in certain things. Well, maybe certain aspects were, but let me look at it this way. Snyder could have spent an hour if he wanted to. He could have spent an hour and 15 minutes or more just origin. He could have spent like the first, if he wanted, he could have spent like 30 minutes if he wanted to, the first hour of Clark as a kid and done it in sync like that. Which then people probably would have found, and here's the thing, had he done that, people would have complained and said, well, this is boring. I didn't want to spend an hour and a half of him in Smallville. So, I like that he did it in flashback sessions, like with things that were going on in the movie. I like how we jump to Clark as older, and I like how we get Clark trying to searching and figuring out with the flashbacks of childhood and things like that. And let me tell you something, a lot of those flashbacks, Kevin Costner and Diane Lane knocked it out of the park. Let me just say, get that one right off my chest. They knocked, that could have been the better, they couldn't have cast those two, couldn't cast Jonathan and Martha Kent any better. They destroyed it with their roles. So I give props to Kevin Costner and Diane Lane for that. They did amazing jobs. I like that in this one. I feel like this one was more. I know a lot of people are exaggerating. I know a lot of people say it's devoid of charm. It's too dark. The critics are like this. Let me get this. First thing, let me get straight is all these people who are saying this are still, once again, which I knew was going to happen, Donner's film. This is not like Donner's. Seriously, are people only going to seriously live in the past? This isn't the 80s. Donner's films were based after 80s comic books, and Donner's films didn't even take the character of Superman seriously for the most part. Donner's films were almost made in like the old Batman television shows, as one person pointed out. Which those things definitely didn't take themselves seriously. So, people say this is not Superman. No. This isn't your 80s Superman. Superman and comic books in general, from Marvel to DC, have changed and periodically over the years. I mean, look at in the old Batman comic books of the era. Batman flew around with a freaking hang glider. So did you want to see Batman fly around in a hang glider in the new comic book movie and the new Batman's? I don't think so. You have to when you make these movies, you have to make them for the era that they're made. Donner's was made for 70s, 80s type mentality era of things, post Star Wars era. These films are made for 21st century millennium era, something that Singer's films missed, who were still trying to make it live in the Donner era, which didn't work at all. I truly believe that Snyder did the best job that he could. He made this film for the fans. For the fans. He didn't make this to please the critics. He didn't make this to please Donner fanboys and Donner fans who are living in the past and can't get over Reeves and Donner, it's obvious at this rate they're never going to. So to those people I say, don't even bother to go see any more Superman films, because you're just going to complain about all of them unless they look exactly like Donner's films. While the film wasn't perfect, and there were things I didn't like about it, but I think Snyder made a Superman film that was grounded, that we hadn't seen. In all honesty, people say, I've heard some ridiculous comments saying this is still like the Superman 2s and all that. No, it wasn't. This was finally its own Superman film, and I give credit to Snyder that he made his own film. He didn't try to make somebody else's thing, didn't try to make his work like somebody else's. He made a Superman film that people said the old Superman films were boring, nothing happened. So he gave you a film of action and drama together. He did his best to try to mix it together. And honestly, Snyder had never done. If you look at Snyder's work, Zack Snyder has never made a film on this scale. Look at 300, Watchmen. Those are so completely different. Snyder's never actually directed actors. In this film, he had to direct actors and have a long, coherent storytelling. Snyder has never actually made a film or ever had to deal with something like that before. So I honestly give credit to Snyder for that, for his first. This is kind of like a learning stage for him of making a film on this grand scale. Other things. Amy Adams is Lois Lane. Phenomenal. Better than Margot Kidder. I think Amy Adams was the best Lois Lane overall. I love the fact that Lois Lane was a reporter in this film. Was like an investigative reporter. You actually had her doing almost. I actually believed in this film that she won a Pulitzer Prize. I tell you that I never believed Kate Bosworth did. That's for sure. Considering she didn't even look like she was out of high school, and didn't even act like a reporter. She acted more like a teenager than anything. Amy Adams felt like this is a woman who is in control of her life, is out to find the story and tell and get the story to people, and I like that. She felt like a reporter, and she did a great job. And why? And I don't understand why people say, "Oh, there was no relationship between Clark and Lois." The relationship was there. The problem is you're looking for the Donner relationship between Clark and Lois, and this is not the Donner film again. Once again, people who say that, you're looking for the Donner relationship. That's what the critics said. You're looking for the Donner relationship. The relationship is there. You're looking for it, at it through a different film, and that's why you don't see it. Now, I did love the action, and I will admit, yes, in some areas, Snyder, the action scenes did go on a little too long. The final fight with Zod, yes, that could have been cut down about a minute, and it would have been just fine. Yes, they went overboard in certain areas, but it was still good. I actually had to see Superman in battles and actually tested. Let me tell you something. On all the Superman films, I've never seen Superman tested. In Donner's film, I never felt at any moment, even when Superman fought Zod, that Superman was being beaten, because for the most part, the guy Donner had him turn back the time, so he flew around the road and turned back time. So at that point, it was just from the first movie on. After that point, I never really believed Superman was ever in danger of being challenged. And in, of course, Singer's films, Superman lifted a Kryptonian an island of kryptonite with a piece of kryptonite in him. After that, I mean, if you want to talk about overpowered, there's Singer's films. Singer's films basically had a Superman at the point where it didn't matter, nothing could ever touch him. Even if Singer had ever made a sequel done a villain, it wouldn't matter because Singer's Superman was already overpowered to the point of no return. This film had Superman being tested. Zod, for the most part, let me put it straight. Superman got his ass kicked for the most part this film. He really never stood except against Zod. Except against Zod. And people were saying, oh, also, the destruction, he didn't care for civilians. Let me put it straight. This was more grounded in a reality that if something like this was out there or actually happened, people would react this way. Let me tell you, the whole time when they're saying if people knew what he could do, it would change stuff. Let me tell you, the exact way people acted in the movie. If somebody was out there with this type of power, people would act the exact same way because you know what? This is somebody who, whether they may say that they're good, but you don't know that. And when somebody has this much power, they can basically do whatever they want regardless of whether they want to help or not. And this was grounded in that reality and did it well. And people say there's too much things that Superman broke. For the most part, Superman really never broke anything on purpose. Superman was either knocked into it by Zod's armies or it was collateral during the fights. Let me explain something. If somebody give me if you can come up with an exact way of how Superman could have handled the Kryptonians without destroying anything, tell me that, because it's impossible. For the most part, they overpowered him throughout half of the movie. I mean, look at Fiora. That whole fight between... I'll get to Fiora in a minute, and I'm probably going to have to stop this and cut this off and start this up for part 2. But in closing for this last half of part 1, actually, you know what? I'm going to cut it here, and then I'm going to continue on part 2.